Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, August 7th, 2023, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councillor Husband?
Here.
Councillor Kohler?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Councillor Starr?
Here.
Councillor Duran?
Here.
Councillor Cross?
Here. And Councillor Reed is excused this evening, for the record. Thank you very much. If you are able, I invite you to rise and invite all of you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much, and thank you for joining us all this evening. We have nothing this evening under special orders of business, so I'm going to go directly to committee reports, and we have several here tonight. We're going to start off with Katie Brady to bring us the Parks report. We love our parks in the summer.
Yes, we love our parks.
Okay.
So I just have a few things. One of the things we discussed at our last meeting was Susan Ramsdale came to discuss the water fountain that used to be at the Keizer Little League Park. So Robert's going to work with her and we're going to figure out a place for that because it's gone now. And so we need to put it back somewhere because her mother, that was one of her things she really wanted in place when she passed away. So we wanted to make sure we have a special place for that. And then we also talked about the arts. We had a gentleman come and discuss with us about some options for graffiti walls, for graffiti art. And I went and talked to the arts committee and kind of passed that on to them because we felt like that was a better place for that. And I think that was really about it. You know, I don't think we had anything else going on. That was it. Nothing exciting. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, there is very exciting. Bob Newton Park, that new playground.
Oh, well, that was lovely. Yes.
Yes.
That was a meeting before, I think. But yes, it's actually turned out really well. That used to be one of my parks I had to report on, and I love the new playground. It's great. So
It was, I've heard from people in the neighborhood that they see kids out there playing every night, and it is so beautiful. And it was the site for their National Night Out party, and it was a great draw for the kids to come and play.
yeah, every time I drive by, and I drive by often, I see a lot of people having picnics, which I never used to see that before. They didn't utilize the park very much at all. So now it's being utilized more, so.
So I do have one follow-up question, and it's probably going to go to Mr. Lawyer, and he may not know. The city parks playgrounds, they wear out. We just replaced Bob Newton. Are there others in the next 3 to 5 years that are scheduled that you know of for replacement and update?
Yes, actually, Ben Miller was the one that was just replaced.
Right.
And Bob Newton is slated for next fiscal year.
I got them mixed up.
And Bob Newton will be I won't say a complete rebuild, but redo the tennis court, redo of the play structure, increase some parking, and just kind of update that whole area.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the Gubster neighborhood is like, woohoo! I'm very excited for that. Thank you very much. And sorry for getting those two mixed up.
No, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And National Night Out parties were held at both places. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. Next up is the traffic safety bike ped and Hirsch Sangster, who passed me on his bike on his way to the meeting tonight.
And I was riding safely.
Riding safely with a helmet.
Good evening. I'm Hirsch Sangster reporting on traffic, bikeways, and pedestrian committee's meeting on July 20th. We had a long discussion and input from the neighborhood association as well as a number of people that attended about Verta Lane and the concerns about traffic safety on that, kids crossing the street from the apartments that are being built and the speed that's going on. So that's going to be an ongoing concern. I think planning even got some questions about that at their last meeting from what I heard. So that's going to be kind of an ongoing issue. A new area that came out was Claggett. Street speeding on Claggett. One of the residents there got a number of residents there to sign a kind of a petition saying we need to do something about Claggett, 10th and Claggett, and the speeding that's going on. The perception is that they're using it as a way to get around River Road and turning there by Avamere and speeding on down to 10th and 10th around. One of the suggestions one of the gentlemen made was to close off and make 10th dead end. That's just an idea at this point. But there were some long discussions on that, and it's definitely on our docket to continue to look at and work with Public Works. And we didn't have a police liaison that night, so we couldn't talk too much about enforcement issues or that things, but it's going to be on our docket for our next meetings. We also approved our mission statement that had actually went through a number of steps, including a review by legal. So we finally did a approval of that, and that passed. The other thing that we are continuing to work on is to update the neighborhood traffic management program. And we're getting to the point where we'll be running it one more time through the neighborhood associations, and we'll be running it through the diversity committee before we bring it to you for review and approval. There was a few other issues like that. We have about $600 in the helmet fund, and we will be doing a helmet fitting as part of Lake Point Church's Serve Fest on August 27th. And I think we'll have between 50 and 60 helmets available for that event. Right now, it's kind of early to say, but we are talking about with the Weddell Elementary to do a safety fair September 23rd, which may include a bike skills fair, might include just helmet fitting, I don't know. It's still really early on that. That's the gist.
Fantastic. Questions, Councilor Houseman?
Oh, excuse me. Hirsch, thank you so much for the rundown. I really appreciate it. And that was a very long meeting. So thank you for your humility and grace on that, because we kept TSBP way longer than they needed necessarily. But
we needed to hear these people in the neighborhood associations and their concerns.
Most definitely. And I do want to bring up the point about potentially creating an artificial dead end to encourage people trying to circumvent River Road to behave appropriately with the speed limit. That's ultimately what we think they're going to do, right? Is if they have to think about having something in their way,
some traffic calming device, and of course a dead end really ends traffic control, but some traffic control device is what the neighborhood was suggesting at this time.
Yeah, and it would be a matter of discussion before the TSBP for sure, but I think there is opportunity for the TSBP to explore potential locations for calming devices in a number of places in the city. We tend to talk about the few major ones during that committee meeting, right, that come up for the moment or are brought to attention by a member of the public speaking. And it's a great thing. We need to hear about every single issue with speeding wherever it is in the city. The benefit is we also hear about speeding everywhere in the city. And so potentially we have a good handle on what the loudest voices are in the room or where the most impact may be, but at the same time, it may be worth it for the TSBP overall to present a little more of a comprehensive idea with where traffic calming devices are. Obviously, that takes some interagency cooperation here, but then we could see what we could do about what resources we do have and where some of the bigger impacts may lie.
Yeah. And traffic control devices aren't just stop signs, speed bumps. It's a wide open area. Salem is now actually painting murals in a residential area, and studies have shown that that does slow traffic in certain areas. It's not universal. We have that opportunity also. Trees, planters,
Not in the middle,
well,
on the side.
narrowing, when you get a sense of narrowing, even though the street may not be narrowed, but the trees, there's studies that do show that slows. Claggett sounds like it's a drag strip right now from the meeting.
Yeah. So if I may, Councilor Husband.
Please.
And I would like to, Mr. Brown, to refer this to police and for Public Works to look at, traffic calming, statistics, and then traffic calming options that may be doable in that area, and to see what recommendations could move forward. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I spoke with Mike Griffin, who is the staff liaison to the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee after the meeting, and we have already initiated a speed count or a speed study for Claggett. I don't know when that's going to be performed. That's our first step in evaluating the issue. So we'll get those results back and report back to council what we find out and figure out a plan from there.
Thank you very much. There you go.
Yep.
Next step is already taken. Thank you. Fantastic. And then on the Verta Lane and Dearborn, between Dearborn and Chamawa, we continue to seek funding options for that particular piece. We have not been successful as of yet, but I know that that is an area where we are continuing to pick up every single rock and see if there's money under it. And we will continue to do so.
And that includes safe routes to school money.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
'Cause
want to let everybody know
I
that
talked
we
to
are pursuing.
Heidi, and she said there might be.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, under committee reports, the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. Tammy?
Hey everybody, Tammy Keizer. I was wondering if all of our groups, including our city council, was going to be able to read the DEI Deconstructed Your No Nonsense Guide to Doing the Work and Doing It Right by Lily Zhang. It was presented to us last week. I'm done already, so it's good.
Okay.
So I was just wondering if it was something that we could put forth for the city council members to read as well as our other committees so that we're all kind of on the same page.
Well, number one, fantastic. It looks like that's a recommendation for a summer read, to be able to read that quickly. And if that's something that the Community Diversity Engagement Committee would like to discuss at your next meeting as more of you read through it and then bring forth a recommendation and some of the key findings that you all have gotten from that, I think that would be helpful for us. And of course, we all have that opportunity to be able to pick up on our own, but if, as a group, if that's something that comes forward, we could look at that, doing that. And is this, I'm looking at Ms. DePina, is this a book that's currently in our lending library?
But I can make that happen.
Okay, so it will, upon receipt, be available in the lending library as well. So,
Mr. Brown, do we know when our next book is going to be available and what the title will be?
I don't know that. Actually, I think Councilor Reed is on top of that. So I'll ask her.
Okay.
all right. Well, I'm glad to know that the first one out of the gate for a book selection was something that you found extremely positive and helpful, and hopefully that will also spur conversation and the work going forward.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, why don't you just stay put? Do we have it, because, stand by, do we have anybody else here for a committee report? Oh, we do, okay. So we'll switch you out, and then we'll bring Kim Steen to come up, talk about art. And then we'll go to public comment. Hello.
Hello. So I'm Kim Steen, I'm Chair of the Keizer Public Art Commission. I don't remember if the roundabout of Rosalie's cows were installed before, since our last report to you, but obviously everybody's seen that. We did talk a little bit about placing some signage for that and where we're going to place it. We're looking into maybe some Insta art and maybe at, is it Claggett Creek Park that's, no. Is it Claggett Creek Park that's on, just up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Cotton Creek Park is the one between Dearborn and.
Right.
Yeah. that
So
one.
we're looking at maybe placing the signage there so that people can read about Rosalie and what the cows were all about. And possibly putting some Insta art there for kids. And so it's just something that's on the table right now. I noticed a couple people mentioned the legal graffiti. And so we did have we had somebody come and discuss that. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. And so that's something we're also looking into. And another thing we talked about was it's on our master plan is the utility boxes and doing something with wrapping those with artwork. So we're kind of looking into that and considering ideas of like involving Keizer Art Association or McNary Kids, and then kind of figuring out what kind of parameters we want around that. If we want it to be, flora and fauna of Keizer or what have you. Let's see. We also, Hirsch just mentioned it, the asphalt art on roadways. We actually, somebody brought that to us, and the idea of this, of painting the intersections and crosswalks and the safety issue that addresses. So that's also something we're looking into. I think that's about it. You were there. Am I missing anything?
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think, I don't know if that's what you were referring to, but the street mural?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that was it. When they were looking, there's a grant program that they
Right.
were looking at, so.
But Salem, but we didn't know. I mean, we kind of found out that Salem is doing it now, and so, I mean, I think it's something that even if we would like to explore, and we might get, if there's a grant out there, but it's nationwide, so it would be maybe a tough deal to get, but, yeah.
Sounds like a field trip. Are there locations that are already done in Salem?
There
So
are.
perhaps either a self-guided field trip to send out to the committee might be in order, so people can go and look at it different points of view, different times a day, sort of thing. And I have a question. I want to go back to the legal graffiti versus the street murals. Not the ones on the street, but I'm talking about the street art, where is there is tremendously amazing art, that's done in like 2 or 3 hours in some cases, but beautiful street, what they call street art, but it's not on the street. And that's different. It's not, I get to go tag it, but it's actually, it is an art form. So there's a distinction. And is that something, we've talked about it so many times, it's never happened, but maybe circling around this time again, we can see what that looks like.
Yeah, we were hoping, I don't know who it was that brought it to the parks.
Carolyn,
committee,
was
but-
that Tom?
Yeah.
Tom Holman.
Yeah, so we were kind of hoping that maybe he might come and talk to us about it too.
Carolyn
And
said he
then,
will.
I mean, there's this idea that, you don't see graffiti on artwork usually. And so it kind of, yeah, you worry about that, but there's a lot of graffiti in town lately, it seems.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with art.
No.
It has everything to do with the other function of graffiti. I'm looking at the chief who's smiling a little bit, going, yep,
So maybe wrapped boxes might deter graffiti, I don't know.
a little bit. Chief, do you want to address that a little bit? Graffiti, art, not art.
I guess it's in the eye of the beholder, but certainly I think anybody in this room is not art. I wonder if they'll just, well, I'm sure they'll just graffiti over the wrapped boxes too, but they're probably a little more cleanable maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's true. The murals that had been painted in Keizer, we put a coating on those so that they can be cleaned off pretty easily. And but yeah, I don't think it's ever been, knock on wood, I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, we'll not go there, but yes.
It's also
Chief?
noteworthy, Mayor, that we're continuing to make headway at catching these kids. We've caught a handful of them in recent months, all gang-related. It's no surprise to most people, but it's interesting. We went for about 10 years and didn't really have very much, and then just, man, the last year, maybe just a real spate of it, but we're chipping away at it.
Thank you for persisting on that, and really appreciate people who are using our website to report the location and send in pictures of the graffiti. It really, really helps our law enforcement to do their job, and more eyes on and more reports in. So thank you for everybody for doing that. All right.
Thank you.
Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kim, thank you so much for this rundown. Learning a lot. I clearly need to tap into more of the Arts Commission meetings.
There you go.
Has there been any effort related to street art and some of the programs into looking into Pacific Northwest College of Art, Portland State University, maybe some of those initiatives? PNCA at this point, I think most people know, but they're now under Willamette University's umbrella, so there's at least a local connection there. And PSU certainly engages in a lot of studies with their Urban Institute and College of Art around some of the street art in the Portland area. I personally don't know much about the grant programs, but the artists who want them probably do. So the educational institutions may help.
Well, the Bloomberg Philanthropies, I said it, Asphalt Art, they, in order to get the grant, it requires community involvement. And so we sort of are thinking, getting, maybe McNary students or getting schools involved. One thought was to put them in front of schools, so at the school crosswalks, and maybe do, their, well, for instance, you could do the mascots or something like that and get the kids involved in that. But there, I mean, this is very early stage, thoughts, so.
Okay, I apologize if I'm
Oh,
jumping
no,
way too ahead.
No, that might be something to look at.
All right.
May I ask one more follow-up, Madam
Follow-up?
Mayor? On the Rosalie Silly Cows installation near Claggett Creek Park, was there any basic level that the commission's come to an agreement on? What there absolutely will be at the site at this point, or
No.
ideas still being thrown out?
No, we're just kind of investigating that now, and we've reached out to the original artist to see if there's maybe some other designs that would lend itself to, having kids, being potentially climbing on it, or, obviously the ones in the roundabout wouldn't be good candidates for that. So,
Sure.
So we'd have to figure out something that would represent that, but still be, appropriate. And then find the spot for it, so.
Definitely. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other committee reports this evening? Summer's busy, it's fantastic. All right, let's go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have no public hearing scheduled for this evening. Before we go to oral comment, I would like to acknowledge for the record 2 written public comments. One from Gabriel Englert, a Keizer resident, and Councilor Reed also said a recent McNary grad. talking about the Keizer flag, and a letter from John Goodyear and Barbara Miner, the Keizer Community Library financial update as of June 30th. So thank you for turning that in, and it's part of the record. Appreciate that very much. And if people have questions on the financial update from the Keizer Community Library, and please address questions to the board. And Council President Starr is our board liaison to the Keizer Community Library. So I'd like people to follow up with that. With that, we have a couple of people signed up for public comment, and we'll come back to Tammy to talk about Claggett Creek Road yard or mowing for the community and lighting.
Tammy Keizer. I have a copy of all the petitions, which I need to send to Melissa. And I have visited Claggett Creek at different hours to kind of support them in this. There's some tall grass and whatnot that needs to be attended to on Claggett on one of the corners. Nobody knew who was responsible for that, so I'm bringing it here because I didn't know either. It's not normally my area to handle.
Okay.
Thank you for working with Claggett to get the speed sign up and get that rolling. They have also had some people park on the sides of the road, as we talked about during our traffic meeting. One of those cars were actually hit, so nobody is doing it now. So it's quite concerning. One of their kids for National Night Out was almost hit. Two kids racing, trying to take a corner, didn't quite make the corner. I don't think it was reported. But they called me a couple hours after I left and said, this is what happened. I documented it for my purposes of being here. Any ideas of how I can help support them better to get this under control before we have a loss of life?
So I'm going to start with the easy question first. The first one is on the location of tall grass, and that would go to Shane Witham, and he'll get it to Ben Crosby. To
Okay,
figure out
then I
who's
will send
responsible.
you the info for that tomorrow.
And we
That
want
way
to
you know
encourage
it.
anybody who has issues for code enforcement, please use our website, fill out the report, and then it gets into the queue for Ben Crosby to be able to address.
Okay, I didn't know if it was code enforcement, parks, public works.
You know, if you get it close, our staff members will get it to the right person. So you don't have to have it, hit it spot on. If you have a question, they'll figure out where it needs to go and follow up. So
Perfect.
code enforcement, there's a lot of tall grass and weeds. Right now, we want everybody to keep things mowed for fire safety. So, keep things mowed down, cleaned up, so we keep our community safe and clean. The other on parking on Claggett, and this is Claggett Road. Mr. Lawyer, parking is permitted on the side of the road, is that, so there's street parking there, which is generally traffic calming, except when the speeding you were talking about was a motor vehicle, correct? So the person who sent that to you, did you forward that to the police?
No, because it was a phone call,
Okay, so.
but I can.
Yes, if you would, please, so the chief can have a
I'll
staff
send you
person
the
follow up.
info.
That would be great. And then there's more information, and then we can actually get to the question that you raised, but we have to have the information first on what's going on there. And I think this goes to, no, we're talking about the other area. So chief will follow up with that.
Perfect.
Okay? All right.
Any other suggestions I can give them?
Okay, Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I noticed on my way in today, there are some burnout or some racing marks on the street too. So somebody has been doing their best to accelerate quickly.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're not paying for their own tires. But worse, it's been a problem all over town. And I've seen more of our motorcycle motors out there patrolling and being very visible, very present. So Chief, thank you very much for
Yeah,
you and
thank
the
you for
staff.
my bike patrol. I really appreciate them.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for the moment?
Nope.
Thank you, Tammy. And Devin Kraxberger, follow up on the Keizer Creek flooding issue.
Devin Kraxberger, Keizer. So I was here at the last city council meeting, and I reached out to a couple neighbors last night. I'm not sure if anybody was able to show up today or not.
Oh, make sure that the microphone's close. So,
I'm not sure if anybody was able to show up tonight or not, but there was a few other neighbors that were interested in coming too. With that are also having property damage done from this water backup. It's still just crazy and getting higher. And we haven't had no rain, and it's taking away probably got a good 1.5 to 2 feet of the property, our property line that's just in the creek now. And then it's widening more and more. So I was just wondering if there was any more news about what's gonna be done or what can be done, or if nothing can be done and what I can do to try to figure out something.
Mr. Brown? Or does this go to Mr. Meyer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's something that Bill's employees are on, but I've had a conversation with, was it middle of last week, I guess, probably Wednesday, and with Devin, and there are some remedies that, as property owners, they can do as far as getting the beavers removed or, but the environmental staff is walking the property with Greg from the state. It's possibly this week, but if not, it's soon. They were coordinating a time with them, but we're not a property owner there. It's the school. That's the property, which is where we've got access through, but the state and local governments have, from all we know now, have prohibitions on what they can do that we can't remove them, but the property owners can. But we'll walk that property with the state ODFW and see if there's any other alternatives that we haven't heard of yet.
Okay.
I guess it's been like lack of communication or feeling like nobody's really sure what's going on, if anything's going on. But the rainy season is gonna come, and like it's gonna, Clegget Creek already floods when it rains. And so we're just really concerned that it's gonna be even worse right now if we don't get it taken. And even the houses that sit above Clegget, they're even having property damage done to theirs. They're losing trees and stuff like that, and so, because it's just taking over. So I was just wondering if we could get a little bit more communication, possibly. That would be great.
Yeah, we'll follow up with the environmental team and see what the date is for the walkthrough.
Okay, thank you.
And keep coming and asking.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Because the more of your neighbors who know, they'll know to engage with you and with the team at the city. So keep building the communication here, and
Okay.
yeah, we got to follow this through.
All right, thank you, guys.
Really appreciate it. All right, that's everybody I have signed up tonight for public comment. Is there anyone else here who would like to address the council tonight under public comment? All right. We will then go to administrative action. The first, and you're going to hear a series of these tonight, fee waiver requests. The city council, when the community center was established, it is a community center, and we have parameters under which the city receives requests to waive fees, become a sponsor for our local nonprofits and, for the community good. And that is defined in our resolution regarding a community center. And right now, we're going to hit 4 of them in a row. That says 2 things. One, our local organizations are very, very active. And number 2, this is a very popular location because Keizer is a place where we get things done. So I'm proud of that. That being said, we're going to take these one at a time. So, and each of us has had the time to take and consider each, and we will discuss them. And is there anybody, and if there are people here from organizations that are involved with these waiver requests, I would be happy to call you up and have you talk about the event. We're going to start off with item 8A, which is a fee waiver request for Lake Point Community Church Center for annual Serve Fest event. And this goes to Ms. Bissett.
You got a hand up in the back, sorry.
Okay, so if you want to, I'm going to go to the staff report first and then come on down and I'll have you present, but I'm going to Mr. Brown. Or is this Ms. Bissett?
I think actually this is one that Mr. Wood wrote before he abandoned us for vacation. So,
Okay.
but,
To Hawaii.
Aloha.
yeah.
All right,
But,
Mr. Brown.
yeah, it's a waiver for that organization to have this Serve Fest event. And the rental fees are, would be $1,500. I'm sorry, I didn't anticipate, think this through. Yeah, the security deposit is $1,500. The fees waived would be $2,475. And so that's within the council's purview to waive the fees.
All right, thank you very much. Were there any questions from council on the staff report or the application for the event itself? Seeing none, come on down and talk to us about Serve Fest, which has been going on since 2010. Has it really been that long already? If you could introduce yourself and talk to us about Serve Fest.
I'm Amy Smith. I work at Lake Point Church.
welcome.
We have done Serve Fest for a very long time, and we love doing it at Keizer. Thank you guys so much for being a part of sponsoring Serve Fest because it's very expensive. That's a lot of our budget if we were to have to pay. But because the city of Keizer has sponsored us and been partnering with us, we've been able to have it at the community center for so long, and we give away lots of things like clothing and free kid haircuts and school supplies. We have a kids carnival and give away lunch and bike repairs with Hirsch. He does our helmets for us. And so it's just like this big community outreach where we can just serve the community, and it's all for free. We have a lot of fun doing it, so.
All right, thank you very much. And the date again is?
August 27th.
And it looks like it's from when to
10
when?
to 1.
10 to 1, right here at the communities and if people want to know more about it, do you have a website?
Yes, lakepoint.net.
All right. Any questions about ServeFest? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick note, as I was looking through the staff report, it says that because of your familiarity with the facility and how you've used it in the past, that you were willing to do both the setup and the takedown and cleanup. Is that correct?
Yes.
So in my opinion, then that justifies a little bit easier some of the fee reduction. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Anything further? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council approve a fee waiver of the community center rental fee and community center refundable security deposit for the Lake Point Community Church Surf Fest event for August 26, 2023 and August 27, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve a waiver of the community center rental fee and community center refundable security deposit for the Lake Point Community Church Serve Fest event for August 26, 2023 and August 27, 2023. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hear no objection. Motion Motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Counselor Reed, who is also very enthusiastic about it. All right, thank you very much. Looking forward to that, it's on my calendar. The next one up is the fee waiver request for the town hall for Congresswoman Salinas. Mr. Brown.
Okay, these ones I know a little bit more about, so I'll try not to butcher them like the last one I did. But Congresswoman Salinas is asked to use the facility center for a town hall meeting, and that fee would normally be $400 for a minimum of four-hour use, and with a safety deposit of $750. And they're asking for a waiver in the interest of open government to the residents of the community.
All right. Thank you very much. Were there any questions on the staff report or the event? All right, Council President Starr. Oh, is anybody here from Congresswoman Salinas' office? There we go. I thought I saw you out here. Come on down. Almost skipped right by you.
It's okay. I really just came to show my appreciation from the office. First, I'll introduce myself. My name's Brandon. I'm her field representative for the office for Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties. And I just, once again, wanted to share the appreciation with the council to be considering to waive the fees. I think it's a great chance for the Congresswoman to be able to address our shared constituents on what she's working on in DC, as well as to hear from the shared constituents on the issues that matter most to them. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
All right, thank you very much. Are there questions? And Brian, remind us of the date and time.
I believe it's August 24th.
There it is.
5:30.
To 6:30. There, I just found it. All right, 5:30 to 6:30. People mark your calendars. All right, thank you so much, and thank you for being here tonight. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council approve the requested fee waiver of the community center facility use fees of $400, including the refundable deposit of $750 for the August 24th, 2023 Town Hall with Congresswoman Salinas.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council, whoops, I just went too fast here. Approve the requested waiver for the community center facility use fees of $400, including the refundable deposit of $750 for the August 24, 2023 Town Hall with Congresswoman Salinas. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Reed. And that takes us to item 8C, which is the fee waiver request for the EO Middle School Exchange Program. And we heard about this a few weeks ago from the organizers. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This is for the 14 middle school students that will be coming from EO Japan. And originally they had planned to be in the building Monday through Thursday for English lessons in the morning. But after going through the schedule with them, they're just going to be there 2 days, Monday and Thursday. It's normally a $25 an hour fee, a minimum of 4 hours. So it's a $200 rental fee that would be waived and a $200 deposit would be waived.
Okay, thank you very much. Were there any questions on this, this waiver? And the upcoming schedule, this will be the third week of, it's the third week of August, right? This is gonna be very exciting to have these students here, along with the mayor and his wife from EO Japan, who will be enjoying visiting with us. And also, as luck would have it, Congresswoman Salinas' town hall is while they're here, which is a tremendous opportunity for these young people and the adults with them to see what it's like, how we do our civic conversations here in Keizer. So I'm very excited about that opportunity as well. And there's been a lot of really good planning that's gone into planning events that are going to be meaningful and for the kids, a lot of fun for their experience here in Keizer and Salem. So thank you very much for everybody considering this. And with that, I will go to Council President Starr.
I move that Keizer City Council approve the requested fee waiver of the community center facility use fees of $200, including the refundable deposit of $200 for the EO Japan Middle School Exchange Program.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve the requested waiver of the community center facility use fees of $200, including the refundable deposit of $200 for the EO Japan Middle School Exchange Program. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Reed. And let's go to the fee waiver request for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce Concert in the Park. Mr. Brown.
Madam Mayor and council members, the last fee waiver request in front of you tonight is for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce for a concert in the park on August 26th. It will be local fan favorite JFK, and their last concert held in July was very successful, and this usually brings out a lot of folks into our park. So the total fee waiver is for $1,450. And these concerts have provided something in the absence of our traditional summer concert series. So, which is not normally something we charge for. So.
And this is also something that there is no admission fee for people to attend, which is a requirement as well. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions on this concert? For people who were around way back when, the first concert we had down at the amphitheater was JFK. They just keep rocking. So here we go. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council approve a waiver of the Keizer Rotary Amphitheater use fee totaling $1,451 for the August 26, 2023 concert in the park.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve a waiver of the Keizer Rotary Amphitheater use fee, application fee, and refundable deposit for the August 26, 2023 concert in the park. Discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Just a comment, I talked to Corey earlier today. She apologized for not being here. They were a little busy setting up for Keizer Fest.
You know what? I really understand that. There's a lot going on. Thank you very much for that. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Reed. And I don't know if you were writing down on your calendar, that is going to be an extremely busy week right here in Keizer. All right, let's go to item 8E, which is resolution adopting regular hiring procedures for the city attorney. Ms. DePina.
Mayor Clark and City Council members, our public meeting laws allow for the City Council to consider employment of the city attorney in executive session if the city has advertised for the position and adopted regular procedures for hiring. The resolution in front of you is to meet that requirement so that you're able to hold executive session conversations with the executive recruiter and the candidates that apply for the position. Ralph Anderson and Associates, our executive recruitment firm, has conducted the stakeholder interviews, as you all well know, and has drafted the position profile, which has been reviewed by me, the city attorney, and the Personnel Policy Committee. And the recruitment, and then of course all of the city council, and the recruitment has been posted, and this is the primary document that we are using to attract and evaluate the city attorney candidates, which meets with the charter requirements. You have a copy of the announcement in your packet. It has been posted, I found at least 14 locations online that it already exists on in multiple states, and the Federal Bar Association, National Association of Women's Lawyers, etc. So it is out there. I also know from talking with the executive recruiter that they actually started sourcing folks before they posted because, of course, they have their own group of folks out there that they work with. So we are well on our way. Also in the packet is the draft recruitment schedule, and we are right on time. So at this point, what we're looking at is your your approval of the resolution that is attached. And there's no financial impact, but the timing is really important so that we can stay on the schedule that you see in front of you. You can adopt the resolution. You can direct me to work with the executive recruiter to revise things if you choose to do so, knowing though that that may delay our schedule. Hopefully we won't need to do that. Or you can take no action, which I strongly do not recommend, because that would mean the majority of our potential candidates would bail out because they want to remain confidential until such time as it's pretty clear on both sides that they're a finalist. So with that, recommend the City Council adopt the resolution adopting regular hiring procedures for the city attorney recruitment process, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any questions? Councillor Cross.
Thank you. Michelle, I do have a question. So will you kind of walk me through like what the pros and cons are? I understand that an attorney isn't going to want to interview, but when I looked up like League of Oregon Cities and there wasn't any like best practices. So is this the recommendation of the recruiters?
The pros and cons for what?
For like doing this in executive session versus other cities that don't.
Absolutely. The executive recruiter consulted with us on this as well as our current city attorney, and in speaking with my peers who recruit for these positions around the state. Really, any of the high-level department director level positions, same situation. They do not want to be outed essentially to their own organizations and the public that they are in a job search if it may not turn out that they are a finalist. That is common practice. And many of them will actually say, if you're going to publish a list of folks, then I won't apply. They're perfectly fine and fully understand that once both the employer and they agree that this is a good opportunity to explore, that their names go out then, because they are public positions, but not before then. So during this kind of screening process is when it's important to have that confidentiality.
Until what, like a final 2 or 4?
Mm-hmm. When the city council decides, here are the folks that we're going to bring back for in-person interview, that's what you see on the schedule. That's when we would give public information on who's out there. Once the council has decided these are the ones that we want to interview publicly.
And I know we haven't hired a city attorney in a while.
No,
but
Shannon is our
what
first.
Is usually that final 2 or 4 in a public setting?
The interview would not be in a public setting, but
are there usually chances for residents to ask questions, or that's just all council?
It's all council at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And great questions. Yeah.
Thank you. I should clarify that this is the city council's process. So if the city council chooses to do something differently, they certainly can. I would recommend that if you want to do something differently, obviously we can have that consultation with the executive recruiter. That's why we hired them, to help us with this process. And I'm also, of course, happy to provide my input based on my background.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, adopting regular hiring procedures for the city attorney.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2023, adopting regular hiring procedures for the city attorney. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, as Councilor Reed. Let's go then to item 8F, which is resolution dissolving the Stormwater Advisory Committee, SWAC. Repeal of resolutions R 2008-1865 and R 2016-2728. We got there. Fantastic. Let's go to Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In 2008, the Stormwater Advisory Committee, or the SWAC, was established to provide recommendations to council and staff pertaining to the development of required stormwater ordinance, programs, and the stormwater utility. With the assistance of the SWAC, the city has adopted and continues to implement all necessary stormwater programs that meet both permit requirements and provide a high level of service to the community. Having met the purpose of the committee, combined with staff facing changing permit requirements, staff recommends that the SWAC be dissolved. With SWAC dissolved, staff would evaluate the need for a new committee that has a broader environmental focus. The committee really served the city and the community well in the development of the utility, not to mention the associated ordinances required. And as I mentioned, with the changing regulations, we're not required to provide the public input to the level that we did that kind of made us form the SWAC to begin with. We're actually doing more public outreach and public education now than we've ever done, and we'll continue to do that. And staff is looking at the opportunity to create a new committee with a broad, as I mentioned, a broader scope than just narrowed on the stormwater. And we'd be happy to bring something back in the future with a recommendation for that. So the staff's recommendation is to adopt the resolution dissolving the SWAC. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for Mr. Lawyer? I do have one, and that is in looking at creating a more broadly applicable environmental committee, citizen involvement committee. Are there some models in our region that we could look at for what they have liked, what they haven't liked?
I don't know if there's any models or not, but we'll certainly do that research and find out. You know, one of the things that we're looking at having to increase education on is recycling. So that's something that we've talked about briefly, is incorporating into this whole outreach committee. But we'll certainly look for models around and find out what's worked and what hasn't worked.
All right, love to learn from others going before us.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. Any further, Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, is there anything related to funding that comes to mind when surveying the options of forming this new committee?
Not really. Most of these committees are more time spent than money. But we'll keep that in mind as we look at options moving forward.
Sure. Just curious if the way grant structures are going or where federal dollars are going, if any of that would play a role into forming this committee in some way.
Not that I'm aware of right now, but we'll certainly keep that in mind moving forward.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, do you have when you were talking about looking at something with a broader focus, do you have a time frame on when you would maybe bring some ideas back on what the new and improved SWAC 2.0 might look like?
We haven't really established that, but I would say it's probably going to be 6 months to a year. We're waiting. We've applied to renew all of our permits, our NPDS permit and our WPCF permit. We understand there's going to be some changes in the requirements within those permits. We don't know what they're going to be. So I'd kind of like to see what that looks like and help kind of direct from there. If there's a need to have the committee, this different new committee focus anything there. And so waiting for DEQ to issue the permits, I'm going to guess 6 months, but the last time it was 5 years. So we'll have to see. I'm not kidding. We waited 5 years for our phase 2 permit, operated under an outdated old permit for that period while they developed and created the new permit form. I don't expect it to take that long this time. But again, I don't know what the time frame is to get the permits actually issued.
Follow up?
You mean like 5 years from when you submitted the permit request to get the approval of those permits?
It was it might have even been more than 5 years from the time we submitted our application, our renewal application, until the time we actually received the permit. And that was I won't say it was a one-off, but it was long because there were a lot of things happening in the stormwater world, and DEQ was trying to evaluate how to implement both national and state requirements in a reasonable way that cities and counties could manage and comply with. It took a lot of time and a lot of negotiations, if you will, amongst a lot of cities and counties to get the permits to a point that we all felt we could manage them and comply with them. I don't expect it to take that long this time.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Now, Mr. Lawyer, having been a member of this committee for almost 5 years, this one has actually been submitted ahead of schedule, is that correct?
The permit renewal application? Yes, yes.
So there's been a lot of work done on that. I appreciate the work that your staff has done to get us where we need to be to where we could actually sunset this committee.
Thank you.
We got in, we got it done, and moved on to the next level. All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, dissolving the Stormwater Advisory Committee, also known as SWAC. Repeal of Resolutions R2008-1865 and R2016-2728.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2023, dissolving the Stormwater Advisory Committee, SWAC, repeal resolutions R 2008-1865 and R 2016-2728. Anything further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Councilor Reed. And let us finish up then with item G, which is a resolution amending the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee, amending resolution number 2012-2256. And this goes to
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Forgot to write it down.
And council, this matter is before the council on the motion passed by the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee to request council change the purpose. For those of you that may not be familiar, all the committees are usually formed by resolution and have a very common template with regard to their membership and name and purpose, et cetera. The Traffic Safety Committee asked the council to consider changing their purpose, and they worked on that and have proposed that change, and you can see it there. Most of the changes are relatively minor between the current one and the new one. There is some wording on some of the bicycle one, I will note. In any event, that is before you for consideration, the recommendation is to pass the attached resolution which amends that purpose section. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the amended, the Appendix A?
Yes, it's the only thing amended is the purpose section in Appendix A.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no questions, Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, amending the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee, amending Resolution number R2012-2256, and repealing Resolution R2017-2820.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2023, amending the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee, amending Resolution number R 2012-2256, and repealing Resolution R 2017-2820. Anything for discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Councilor Reed. And we will now go to the consent calendar for tonight. Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Consent calendar item, oops, not on. Consent calendar item A, 2022-23 surplus property report. Item B, resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a 2023 Caterpillar 305 compact excavator and a Felling FT16 ITI trailer through Sourcewell for the Public Works Department and authorizing the disposition of surplus property. Item C, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Gelco Construction, Inc. for the construction of a speed table on Cummings Lane North. And D, the approval of July 17th, 2023 regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Seeing none, Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. And that will take us then to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, does staff have any additional business to bring before council tonight?
We have no items to bring before council tonight, Madam Mayor and Council.
All right, thank you very much. City council members, any other business that you want to bring before the council tonight? All right, then let's go to staff updates. Mr. Brown?
Looking forward to Keizer Fest. That's about it.
You're here. Mr. Pina? Ms. Bissett? Chief?
Last camp is next week. The camp is full of children, so we have no more room for campers. There is still a need for adult volunteers, and I shouldn't say adult, I mean some teenage are able to volunteer too. However, after tomorrow, we have no opportunity to train them. So if someone wants to volunteer, please get a hold of Wanda at the police department. We would love to have your help. I want to give a shout out to Tammy back here and Jacqueline. The last 2 Fridays, Fostering Hope Initiative, which is it's not really an organization, it's an effort run by Catholic Community Services along with CBEL, of which the mayor and I and Dan Kohler attend every now and again, or Councilor Kohler rather. It was exceptionally well attended, 350 the first night, 500 the second night. I was talking to somebody today asking and wondering how in the world they were able to do that. And all the credit goes to these two back here. It's a fantastic effort for our community, and we're delighted to take part of it.
Thank you very much. I do have one addition. We read about the bravery of Officer Ilya Kuzmenko,
Yes,
who
ma'am.
took quick and decisive action and dove in to attempt to save a drowning victim at Keizer Rapids Park, and gave that victim a fighting chance for life that would have not had otherwise. And we just want to commend the officer and as well as extend our condolences to the family of the young man who passed away. But really the quick thinking and training of our officer to take action. All
Did a great job. I thank you for bringing that up here.
right, thank you. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one thing. You may have noticed, some of you may have noticed that there are some additional new signs on Chamorro Road right here at the crosswalk by the Heritage Foundation building. That's the rectangular rapid flashing beacon that I'd planned to install. It is not activated yet because we have some shrub trimming to do on the north side of the road. As soon as that's done, that work was separate from the contract. I elected to have us manage that and do that our way instead of having the contractor just start hacking away at things. As soon as those are cut back, and I believe that's going to happen tomorrow, they will be activated and available for use.
Yay! We're very excited. Our first rapid flashing beacon. It won't be the last. Thank you very much, and really appreciate getting that project moving forward. It's a great ad. Mr. Witham.
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor.
I do have one question for you, and we talked a little bit about this. This is something about the middle housing projects. We've seen in our Friday reports that we have middle housing projects that are going to be moving forward. Can you talk a little bit about what that is? And then the question I got from a member of the community was on the, are any funds coming from our taxes or our property tax to offset those projects, or is this state funded for middle housing?
Sure. So on the general, middle housing is a kind of a catch-all term, which historically in single-family residential zoning districts, which a vast majority of our city is, you only really see single-family homes built. And the state passed some legislation a couple years ago that went into effect in Keizer last year, which we are required to allow duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes in the same areas we allow single-family homes. It's a function of the lot size, so anywhere you could build a house, you can now build a duplex, and if the lot size is a little bit bigger, you could build a triplex. If it's even a little bit bigger than that, then you can build a fourplex, or also you can do cottage clusters. So that's kind of the overarching what middle housing is. And we have seen a uptick of where we historically for the past 20 years would see subdivisions or small partitions come in, creating a couple of new lots, which would result in a couple of new homes. We're now seeing those couple of new lots being developed with a couple of new duplexes or triplexes in some cases. And so that's become a little bit more of a popular product that developers are doing. Now, as far as funds, there's no city money to have that happen. That's all bore by the developers themselves. It's not incentivized, it's not, you know, there's nothing, it's just an allowance that we have to allow. So it really is a market-driven factor that a property owner can choose to develop their property with what's allowed. So does that answer that?
Perfectly.
Okay.
Thank you. And I wanted people to hear it from you rather than me, because you know what you're talking about, and I know. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Johnson.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. We will then go to council member reports, and we'll start with Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since last city council, I went to a Salem Dream Center event, which I didn't know a lot about, and they helped the at-risk youth in our community. So that was fun at Cubanismo Vineyards. I had a Havana Nights theme. I went to YMCA Executive Committee meeting, a Governance Committee meeting. I played in the YMCA Golf Tournament for Camp Silver Creek, the Darien's Gift Golf Tournament. Attended the No Luncheon with Julie Hoy, and that was amazing. And then just had a great time at Neighborhood Night Out, and I'm just so appreciative of our police force, and they're like the foundation, so thank you, of our community.
Thank you very much. Councilor Duran.
Since last time we were here, I have not done a whole lot, except for National Night Out last week, which was very, very enjoyable. I had a good time talking to everybody that was there at all the places that we stopped. Everybody had a lot of good questions, and I think we were able to give some information that helped answer some questions. Keizer Fest is this week. I've been busy with that, so that's been where most of my time has been taken. When I haven't been at work, I've been working on something for Keizer Fest, and I will be the rest of this week. So please, everybody, come out to Keizer Fest this weekend and see all of the fun stuff we have set up.
Fantastic. And kickoff is on Thursday, correct? So here we
Correct.
go. All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had the honor of covering the Keizer Public Arts Commission meeting for Councilor Reed. We had the Community Diversity Engagement Committee meeting that Tammy reported on earlier. I also got to ride along with Keizer's Finest for National Night Out, visit, I think, 5 of our 25 registered neighborhood events. So that was a great number for our community. I have the distinct pleasure of serving, being asked to serve on the Salem Keizer Public School new superintendent's transition team. And so we had our first meeting on that about a week and a half ago. And then also had the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with Andrea Castaneda. And I have great optimism and hope for the future of our school district after talking to her. And I look forward to continuing to be able to work with her throughout on her transition team for the next several months. Also, I had an enjoyable extra long Personnel Policy Committee meeting. I had a lot of laughs. Councilor Reed took me back to school, and I learned about parallel constructs and sentence structure again, so that was great. And had attended the community dinner. And tomorrow we'll attend the Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Council. And also just again, reminding everybody about the Keizer Fest this weekend, the parade on Saturday, and then the events at Keizer Rapids Park on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Also want to remind and encourage our members of our community to look at the committee openings that we have for the city of Keizer. Those can be found on our website at keizer.org. I know we have several openings on our committees for parks, budget committee, and so forth. So I'd encourage you to look at those.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple things. I attended Food for Thought, and one of the things they asked was, what is something that you need to step into without really knowing what will happen? And I think sometimes we look at, we stay in our comfort zones pretty much. And so sometimes we need to be willing to step out and do a little more. Keizer Community Dinner, we served about 330 families, 330 people. I'd like to thank Bob and Pam Zielinski because they cooked most all the hamburgers this time, so I didn't have burns all the way in my arm this year. I appreciate that a lot. And then, of course, neighborhood night out, I was honored to ride with Chief Teague, Keizer's finest. And we, Chief Teague doesn't do anything halfway. We visited 6 neighborhood groups. It was great to see so many people out and interact with the community. It was great. So tomorrow night I have the Parks Board meeting, and yeah, let's go to Keizer Fest.
All right, fantastic. Councillor Husband.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Welcome to Transportation Station. You all already heard about the TSBP meeting, thanks to Hirsch. That was a very good time with a lot of strong discussion, and once again appreciative of all the neighborhood association representatives that came forward. They absolutely bolster the work that we do in the TSBP meetings. Ultimately, it's great as the council liaison to hear that. Love the feedback, keep it coming. I also got to play Mayor Clark for a second and attend the Mid-Willamette Valley Area Commission on Transportation meeting this past Thursday, representing the city of Keizer while you were enjoying yourself a couple time zones away. Ooh, I learned a lot. That was an excellent meeting to attend. Let me give you all a quick rundown. Initial point of discussion actually was about bikes. Mayor Woods of Dallas, the MWACT chair, broached the question of why don't bicyclists use certain bicycle facilities when they're riding as the jump off point for the meeting. The answer is bicyclists don't use bicycle facilities if they don't feel they're safe. They will always use the facilities that make them feel the safest, even if they are not necessarily destined for bicycle use. Next major topic of discussion was the 2251 interchange in Polk County, which is still very much a high priority ODOT project. Didn't necessarily get a clear sense on the timelines, but that one, last we saw, they're continuing to review designs as to how that interchange is going to look. Cars will move freely through there, and I also got to tell the committee about my experience biking on that intersection as I ride from my house in Keizer to Monmouth, which is a ride I very much enjoy doing. I told Mayor Clark about this for meeting prep, and she was absolutely horrified. But if you've driven on 24, the safest way to ride that is on part of the sidewalk, just on the north side of the road until you hit the overpass at Oak Knoll Golf Course, and then get onto Rick Riall Road, and it's pretty smooth country sailing from there. Otherwise, there are little bits and pieces of paved pathway that are either elevated above the road or just outside of it that aren't necessarily wider than a couple people, but when you're on a bicycle, you can make do. So that's coming in. There was a big presentation on retrofitting of the Center Street Bridge between downtown and West Salem. TLDR on this project, for those of you who haven't been in the ODOT meetings, in looking at the downtown connection between Marion and Polk counties, downtown and West Salem, ODOT engineers have determined that retrofitting the Center Street bridge for seismic upgrading was the most cost-effective use of state dollars. The Marion Street Bridge, unfortunately, is so outdated as not to be receiving those seismic upgrades. So Construction on that facility is expected to start somewhere around 2025. It'll take a couple of years from there. So by 2027, approximately, there should be completion. Expectation is that the bridge will remain open during that 2-year span, but we all can easily imagine the traffic flows that may or may not exist on the span during that time. Plus, ODOT is interested in reviewing and possibly revamping the connections into West Salem as a result of this project. There will be additional seismic retrofitting of the connections into downtown Salem onto Front Street, per their presentation. The ones in West Salem may be altered in such a fashion as to enhance traffic flow or simply make that point of ingress egress a little bit better for folks trying to cross into West Salem proper. It's an awful lot. This is your tax dollars at work, and it's going to be an extensive project. They estimated the cost at about $86 million for the Center Street Bridge upgrade. There was also a question about what would happen between Capitol Manor and the bridge on Highway 22. ODOT, of course, wouldn't commit to anything because they're taking it one piece at a time. But I did learn that the land on which that part of 22 sits is a man-made dike. I had no idea. Learn something new about our infrastructure every day. It's great. One additional anecdote pursuant to us here is, and Mayor Clark, I got to be honest, I kind of missed this during the legislative hullabaloo, but apparently there was an initial discussion on a bill for a task force to look at a bridge over the Willamette River at the Wheatland crossing, where the Wheatland Ferry currently is now. That did not advance very far in the legislative session, but State Representative Anna Scharf was sitting in on the MWAC meeting with us, and she hinted that a bill for a task force may yet be brought up again in the next legislative session. So if you have strong thoughts about the crossing at Wheatland one way or another, please prepare your letters. That's all I've got. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very thorough. I really appreciate there's a lot going on with the area commission, and do watch for these projects, especially when you go to construction. That's going to be a lot of fun. Where I was at that same time, yes, I was 2 time zones away, but I was also in another meeting, and that was the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance. And I have some good news to share with you all. We got the report last week that our continuum of care, Marion Polk County, is the first, and as of last week, the only one thus far to open new shelter beds using the executive order funding. Sheltering Silverton has their shelter beds that are funded from this already open and in use. Our continuum of care is also the first, and as of last week, the only one in the state thus far to rehouse a family using the executive order dollars. And Salem Housing Authority has already got their programs up and running, and they are now getting people into housing as they should. Also, we received the report that all of the renovation and facilities projects that are being undertaken by our partners in providing sheltering options in the Marion and Polk County areas are all underway. Catholic Community Services, Church at the Park, the Young Adult Church at the Park micro shelter, that one should be opening. They just need some pavers put in. The Polk County facility, Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action, Sheltering Silverton's, the Safe Sleep expansion is under construction. And the Sequoia Crossing, which we've been watching down by Fred Meyer, is ahead of schedule and will provide 60 family units down there. So this is very, very exciting. And also, Salem Housing Authority closed on the Orchard Heights apartments. 224 units will remain affordable for the next 60 years. That was a huge lift on the part of Salem Housing Authority. Nicole Utes is a freaking rock star. You can tell her I said that. She and her team are amazing. This was very tough negotiations. They got it done, and those units will remain affordable. The people who are living there will be able to remain in those units. Very exciting. They haven't started the dashboard for the results from the executive order because right now the only ones with results are Marion and Polk counties. So we'll share with other people as they get stuff out the door. Let's see. The client count for the first few weeks of the executive order dollars being in use, 196 unduplicated clients in this report have received services for eviction prevention, rapid rehousing, and sheltering Silverton with congregate shelter. So again, our service providers in Marion and Polk County are taking care of people so they will no longer be unsheltered and remain sheltered. Couple other things that these last few weeks, I attended the Mayor's Coalition in Woodburn. Thank you to Mayor Lonigan and his wife for hosting that at their new museum and also the renovated theater. If you haven't seen that in downtown Woodburn is absolutely darling. So highly recommend taking a look there and enjoying that. Cookies with a Cop was on the 20th of July. And let's see, I also want to give a shout out to the softball team Oregon Titans, who represented our area and Oregon in California. They for nationals. So this was one of 3 teams that made it to nationals for girls softball. Congratulations to the Oregon Titans on a very good season. Let's see what else is coming up. Keizer Summer Night Out at Copper Creek Mercantile, their food truck pod. That sounded like, again, I was out of town, unfortunately, or I would have been at that event. It looks like it was very successful, and hopefully there will be more of those in the future. This coming Thursday, as Keizer Fest is kicking off, I will also be attending the dedication of the Peter Courtney YMCA Veterans Home in Salem. It's across from the new YMCA. Again, a partnership with many, many organizations in this region to provide permanent housing for veterans in our community. And I just want to, again, so proud to be part of a community that puts the dollars into taking care of dignified housing and services for our veterans. I will be attending the Oregon Mayor's Association until Saturday morning. Then I'm going to come home early because there's this parade thing. So I'm going to be beating feet back from under the speed limit from Hood River. And I want to thank Council President Starr and Councilor Reed for taking some of the morning duties prior to the parade, so I can be here in time for the parade itself. And you heard all the other stuff happening. State Fair opens on the 25th, and that is all I've got for tonight. Agenda input. We will have a work session on the 14th of August. That's a week from tonight at 6 p.m. And we will be meeting with our neighborhood associations, talking about what are neighborhood associations, how do they function, how do they work, what works, what can we keep on doing better. So that we'll be talking about neighborhood associations next Monday night. And then on the 21st, we will meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. And then we will meet on Tuesday, September 5th, at 7 p.m. in regular session after Labor Day. That is all I have. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, the time is now 8:29 and we are adjourned. Thank you all.